Hello guys, welcome back to the Balanced Blonde YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk about a huge topic that's been on my mind, which is my plant-based journey. If you've been following me for a long time, or if you happened to see any of my older YouTube videos, as I haven't really been on YouTube in many years and a lot has changed in my life, then you might be wondering, how did I get where I am today? What did my journey look like? How did I make these switches in my life, and what inspired me to do so? I wanted to take the time to share that with you today and share with you my plant-based journey, which is so dear to my heart and something that's so special to me. So thanks for being here, and let's just dive on in. So let's take it all the way back to 2013. If you've been following me for a long time, then you know that I had a blog called The Blonde Vegan. In 2013, I started it as I was graduating college from Loyola Marymount here in LA, right before I moved to New York for grad school, where I was going for my master's in creative writing. And I just was head over heels for the vegan lifestyle. And I had been at this point for many years. I went vegetarian when I was 14 to combat some stomach issues that I had. I've had lifelong stomach sensitivities, food allergies, food intolerances, food issues of all kinds. And going vegetarian and gluten-free way back in like 2004 was A, not a trendy thing to do, and B, something that really worked for me and always intuitively felt right to me. I was the girl in high school who was bringing her quinoa and blueberry salad to school in a lunchbox back when people called quinoa quinoa, so including me. If that gives you any indication how long I've been on this train of health and being inspired by the plant-based way of life. So in college, I went through a massive breakup, and it was really hard for me, totally heartbreaking. Thought I was gonna be with this person forever, which just goes to show I was young and naive and 21 and all the things. And the amazing gift that came out of that situation is that I poured all of the love that I had been pouring into him and our relationship into myself and completely went vegan. So I had been vegetarian for many years, like I said, kind of dipping in and out of it, not too seriously, and was always doing it for just health reasons. Then I went vegan, starting with this 5-day cleanse that I did with my mom that made us both feel incredible. And I just decided, you know what, I've had stomach issues forever, literally since I was born, my parents can tell you, and I feel amazing after this cleanse. Why would I ever go back to anything else? So that's what started me on my vegan path. I had my blog, The Blonde Vegan, or I started it that summer. I moved to New York. I was so passionate about creating recipes. I even created vegan cleanse programs that mimicked the one that changed my life. And I became so passionate about this world that I ended up leaving grad school to blog full-time. And that was 7 years ago now, which is incredible and wild to think back on. And meanwhile, I was dealing with some health issues. At the time, I had no idea what was going on, but I thought maybe it was diet related. Now I know it was Lyme related. I was diagnosed with Lyme many years later, undiagnosed for probably about a decade. So I was dealing with fatigue, some bloating again, some stomach issues again, some hormone imbalances, and eventually kind of self-diagnosed myself with orthorexia from searching on the internet, which is the obsession with eating healthy food and obsession with cleanness and purity and fear of foods. So unfortunately, I believe I kind of misdiagnosed myself, and because I was already blogging and because I was already a public person, this spiraled on the internet and in the news, and I became something that I never wanted to be and never with my own words said that I was, which was like the anti-vegan, or the picture of what could go wrong when you're vegan. Because when I felt like I had orthorexia, I decided to stop being vegan and include other foods in my diet and my life. And thus began the hardest time in my life, where I was getting so much hate from the vegan community, parts of the vegan community, so much hate. People were making YouTube videos about me getting beheaded. I was getting death threats every day for 3 years. It was a really difficult time. I don't really want to focus on that in this video, but it was just a very, very painful and challenging time. And meanwhile, I was trying to figure out my own health and what was going on in my body. So I saw functional medicine doctors and nutritionists of all kind, and Ayurvedic doctors and healers. Some people told me to go paleo and keto, so I tried that. I reintroduced every food under the sun, and I overate those foods in abundance because I felt like I just wanted to not be that orthorexic girl and show people that I was healthy by eating all these foods. And it really backfired on me, in the sense that I didn't feel good at all. I didn't feel good about my choices. I felt very lost. I gained about 35 pounds in a 10-month period. I had cystic acne. I didn't even recognize myself in the mirror. I knew I had horrible hormone imbalances, and this began the beginning of my insane chronic fatigue, which I now know is related to Lyme and the fact that I was eating such a highly inflammatory diet for my body with all of that animal food. It was tough. It was tough. I don't know any other way to put it. And this lasted for many years, from the time that I was 22 until about 25, 26. I'm 29 now. When I started dating Jonathan, my now husband, he quickly noticed a lot of things about me. And one of those things was that when I ate non-vegan foods, I felt awful. And he was the first person to suggest to me, why don't you just be vegan again? Which is such a male thing to say, like, oh, why don't you just go back on everything that you have been doing and writing about and be vegan again, and no big deal. And to me, I was like, I don't know if I can do that. I want to do that. I don't know if I can do that after everything I've been through with the vegan community and what would people say about me. And I've evolved so much since then, in the sense that I don't care what people say about me, and I put what I feel about myself above what anyone else's opinion of me is. And I know myself now, whereas I know when I was 22 and I was going through all this for the first time, I didn't really know myself. And how could I? I was so young. I was going through so much. I didn't have the proper support or the proper knowledge to really deal with it in a way that would have really, really helped and healed me. So Jonathan was the first person to say that, and then a few other very highly intuitive people in my life said the same thing. And ultimately, on a trip to Bali with Jonathan in 2017, I was feeling my lowest. Everywhere we went in Bali, the Balinese women asked me if I was pregnant because I was so bloated, I didn't feel good, I had cystic acne, I had hives all over my body. And I knew I needed to make a big change. And there, it was just so clear to me that the foods I was still eating, like eggs and fish and even meat at that time, were not serving me and were not healing for my body. So I cut them out and I never looked back. And I was pretty quiet about it online for a while, which is very unlike me, but I didn't feel the need to have anyone else's opinion infiltrating what I knew to be true in my heart, which was that this was so healing for me. And I didn't want to open up that can of worms. And then time went on and I felt like, you know what, I want to share this because I want to help other people who might be in my position, and also because who cares what people say? I'm me, and in a few days, no one will care and no one will be thinking about me, but I'm the one who has to live in this body, and I love to share my life. And I'm so passionate about this way of life, why wouldn't I? So this was like 3 years ago now, or 2.5 years ago now, I started sharing again about being intuitively plant-based, and it's taken me a while to again embrace the term vegan for me. I started being plant-based again, at first for my health, but over time I've become so passionate about the vegan movement, the vegan cause, for the environment, for the earth, for the animals, that I know I could never go back. I'm currently in the middle of a plant-based nutrition program where I'm learning all about what a plant-based diet does for the earth and for the environment, and there is literally no way I could ever go back, but I went plant-based again, first and foremost for my health. And thankfully I did, because later that year I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, co-infections, mold, Epstein-Barr, parasites, gut dysbiosis, the list goes on. This was a very jarring time, jarring diagnosis, but I was also so grateful to finally have answers. And it was this vegan diet that really helped get me back on track. And at that same time, I did a water fast at True North in Santa Rosa and learned all about the salt, oil, sugar-free vegan way of life that I now teach and share about all over my blog and in my ebooks. And that is truly, in my opinion, the most anti-inflammatory way to live, especially for those of us with chronic illness and Lyme disease, and it has helped me so much. So finally, after all these years of feeling like I wasn't even living in my own body, I lost all of the weight again. And it's not about that, but it's about coming back into the body that I know is so me, and this is me, and I feel good, and I feel light and energetic, and I can share myself with the world. And I can't even tell you guys how good it feels to step back into who I am at my core. So the SOS free diet helped me get there, fully plant-based, vegan. It would be what's called the whole food plant-based diet, so I don't indulge in vegan junk food. If I want something like a burger or a quesadilla or a mac and cheese bowl or a decadent dessert, I make it myself, and I make it with love, and I make it with ingredients that my body thrives off of. So it is not deprivation in the least. It is such a beautiful, such a healing way for my body, and has been so incredible for me. So now it's been about 2.5 years of being on this plant-based train again, and I feel so passionate about it. It's one of the things that inspires me to get up in the morning, especially on those days where I just don't feel like I can and I don't feel like I want to. I think, no, I want to get up. I want to go into the kitchen and make my green juice. I want to video it for Instagram, and these are the things that make me feel so good and make me feel like me again. Now, I want to be closer to you guys while I talk about this part of it. So this was a tough time in my life that I'm sharing with you guys here, and I wanted to make it really clear and really available to you that this journey for me, it's been a mind, body, soul journey. It's been a journey of my spirit, and after waking up spiritually, I could never go back to eating animals. And I feel intuitively like I've become such a clear channel for my intuition, for my highest self, for my angels, for my guides, for even aliens, which is something I talk about on my podcast and blog. And being that clear channel does not live in alignment with eating animals. And so the last time that I ate animal flesh was some salmon, and it was after I went plant-based again, but I was just testing it out because I'm always a human guinea pig. And I can't get over what I felt when I ate it. I don't even want to talk about it, but there were veins and it was horrible, and I don't see myself ever going back. And so the changes that I've made from the first time that I was vegan to now are innumerable, and I feel so much healthier and so much more balanced, and I think anyone who knows me would say the same. And I'm so passionate about sharing this lifestyle with people and telling people and showing people that you can change, you can evolve. If someone like me can be vegan, be the blonde vegan, write a book about not being vegan anymore, and then be vegan again and literally have it be like the best part of my life, then you can do anything. And if I have to be that extreme version out there to show people what's possible, then I'm so honored and happy to be that person. In human design, I'm a reflector, and I know that I reflect what's going on in the world and what's going on in the community back to people. And if you want to learn about human design, check it out on my podcast. We'll leave a link below. Being a reflector is part of this journey too. So it's all been part of my journey, from being vegetarian when I was young to going vegan in college and starting my blog, to going through that traumatizing public time where I basically became the poster child for orthorexia, and I no longer resonate with having orthorexia. I've been talking about this for a while on my blog, but it's time to say it in video form. I had Lyme the whole time, and I have so much compassion for that young girl who was trying to heal herself with food, because it's possible to do that. I just wasn't exactly doing it in all the right ways, and I've learned a lot since then, and I'm so grateful for every part of the journey. So I could talk about this all day, but that's where I am now. Intuitively plant-based and vegan for my health, for the animals, and for the environment. And now I want to answer some of your questions that you guys have been sending in on Instagram, and feel free to ask more, because this is just very much a part one, and can't wait to connect. I'm so grateful for everything the plant-based life has brought me, and I wanted to answer some of your questions that you guys sent in on Instagram. So let me open those up, and then if you have more questions, please do send them in. This is a series that I would love to do, so not just this one video. I have so much to say. I could talk for hours. I feel like YouTube thrives off of the shorter content. Okay, for answering your questions, I kind of just want to be closer to you guys. Okay, so I'm going to answer like 5 to 10 questions here, and I'm just going to do it rapid fire because, you know, I could talk about each one forever. So My Life Through Movements asks, what was the hardest food for you to give up? Okay, so this is a hard question for me to answer because I actually have recreated everything I loved that wasn't vegan or wasn't SOS free in my own kitchen. So I don't know that I really miss anything. I've created plant-based SOS free pad thai, Snickers pie, every dessert under the sun, mac and cheese, burgers. So I don't know that I honestly miss anything. I eat whatever I want. I eat to my cravings. I eat intuitively. But if I had to choose one thing, it would probably be sushi, because I have a lot of good memories of going out to sushi with friends, and it's more about the ritual. But what I really miss, actually, to answer this, is coffee, because I don't really have caffeine right now for my healing diet from Lyme. So I love coffee. I miss coffee. Do you believe meat, eggs, etc. can be healing for some people? Truths by Katie Lynn asked this question. So I do believe that all of our bodies are different. I will leave it at that, because I don't like to ever say that there's a one-size-fits-all diet, because there's not. But do I believe everyone could thrive on a plant-based lifestyle with very few exceptions? Yes, I do. But like I said, whatever someone wants to do, I'm open to it. I'm happy for them. Sorry, trying to find a good light. I don't judge. Do I believe that it can be healing for some people? I don't think I would use the word healing, no. I think if you're healing, a plant-based diet is the way to go. Good plant-based foods for compromised digestion, Jenny High Life. Okay, so for me, food combining is huge. I write all about food combining in my detox ebook, which we'll link below. Food combining has changed my digestion so much. So as long as you're eating the proper foods and proper combinations, fruit by itself, starches separated from proteins, you can eat fats, with starches, and then there's a whole list of other things. It's all in the ebook. That has helped me so much with digestion. And then liquids, so smoothies, juices, they help me a lot when my body doesn't have the capacity to break down food as much. And then avoiding nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds, if you're having digestive issues, is preferable. And food combining all the way. I'm gonna set this back up over here, because yes, while I want to be close to you guys, I think it's nice when it's not like bobbing all around. So, okay. So let's get to a couple more questions. Best easy foods for those of us who feel unwell and don't have the energy to cook. You know I feel this, you know I've been there a million times over. Easy things to make are smoothies in the Vitamix, soups if you don't have a Vitamix, any type of blender will do, juices, and then save them so you can freeze them and then thaw them out and then have them later. Or you can make little smoothie packs where you cut up your fruit and cut up your smoothie ingredients and put them into a little stasher bag type of thing, and then just throw it into the blender when you're ready. Or like an easy chickpea pasta with just some lemon on top and some spices is so simple. That's what I love about this lifestyle, is it's so simple. And when I had no energy to be on my feet in the kitchen, I could just throw whatever I wanted into a bowl, whether it be a salad or a Buddha bowl or anything else, and feel totally satiated and totally satisfied. In my ebook, I have lots and lots of easy SOS-free vegan recipes, so check that out. We'll link it below. Rachel Cooper says, what was the biggest mistake you made when first starting out, and how did you fix it? I would say the biggest mistake I made was the first time around being vegan, not really knowing how to properly nourish myself. So that was what I really mistook for orthorexia. It wasn't really orthorexia in my opinion now. It was that I didn't really have the proper knowledge of the wide variety of foods I needed to eat to have enough nutrients for a balanced vegan diet. So I was mostly eating veggies and fruits, which are so healing and so amazing. But beyond that, I think a healthy vegan diet, or in fact I know, needs also a lot of legumes and healthy carbs, and I wasn't eating a lot of those at that time. I was listening to all those vegan YouTubers who, you know, may or may not have known what they were talking about. So how did I fix it? I empowered myself with knowledge. I did a health coaching program through IIN. We can link that below. I can get you guys a discount for that if you're interested in doing it. I've researched and studied plant-based nutrition for years now. I've talked to many different nutritionists and doctors, and then just found trial and error with my own body so that I don't make those mistakes. Okay, let's see here. Amelia asks, how did you start integrating plant-based into your life and let go of meat, fish, eggs, etc.? Well, I'm a very all or nothing person, so for me, it was just a switch. It was just a swap. It was time for me to make the change. But I also believe in switching over slowly. Right now I have my parents, like I was saying, on a 25% vegan diet, and I think it's smart to slowly transition if that is what your soul feels good doing. For me, my body was done. It was like, I know what's irritating me. These eggs are inflammatory, this fish is inflammatory, I cannot eat flesh ever again. That's how I started to feel. So for me, it was really easy to make that switch when the time came. Things that have been harder for me to cut out, like coffee, is more of a slow breakup, if you will, where I will cut it out for like 4 weeks and then I'll have it for a couple weeks, then I'll cut it out for 6 weeks, then I'll treat myself a little. And that is always something that you could do too. Devin asks, thoughts on whole food plant-based versus raw vegan, is one better than the other? So no, one is not better than the other. It really just depends on your body. I know people who completely thrive off of a raw vegan diet, specifically my friend Christina. You can find her on YouTube, Fully Raw Christina. She's been thriving on a raw diet for something like 14 years. She's the picture of health. For me and my body right now, healing from Lyme, cooked foods are still really nourishing for me, really satiating, and intuitively they feel really good for me. I don't think one is better than the other, but I do think in terms of getting a wide variety of the nutrients you need, it's easier to be whole food plant-based and get that range of nutrients, which of course you can still get from raw food alone, but it takes a lot more knowledge, research, education, and time. I like eating legumes. I like eating the occasional grains. I love eating potatoes. That's what my body loves right now. Okay, let's see here. Someone's asking about the blood type diet. That doesn't align for me. I'm blood type O, which is technically a meat eater. However, that's up to you if you want to look into that. Okay, now the next question is about hormones, and I've actually found that going vegan again regulated my hormones, and I still have to take some hormone. I take a natural thyroid hormone because my thyroid is still off due to Lyme disease, and I hope to wean myself off of it, especially after my next fast, because I 100% believe and know we can heal our bodies, we can heal our lives, and I'm just super excited to keep sharing all of this info with you guys. I'm so grateful to have you here. There's a lot more questions. I'm gonna save them for either a part 2 video, so you can keep sending in questions, write them in the comments below, or for a podcast episode, or both. So a few resources that I mentioned in this video, the IIN, Integrative Nutrition School health coaching program that I did 6 years ago, where I really educated myself on health and wellness and the plant-based life, is opening up again in May, and they open up again many times throughout the year. And you can use my link below to get a big discount off of your tuition, and then a free gift from me and a potential Skype session with me, as long as you let me know that you ordered through my link that you signed up. And then other resources I would encourage you to check out. Check out the documentary called The Game Changers, especially if you are an athlete and you're worried about eating a vegan diet and how to get enough protein, which by the way is a huge myth. Check out that documentary. It was really life-changing, especially for Jonathan, and I think encouraged him to take the leap to go vegan. Check out Forks Over Knives. There are so many incredible plant-based doctors that I will leave some of the names of in the comment section below, or in the caption below. And then let me know what else you guys want to see from me. Let me know your thoughts on my vegan journey. And I'm just so grateful to be back on YouTube and connecting in this way. So if you like this video, hit subscribe. I would be so honored and so grateful, and write me some comments below. I love to engage. I respond to every comment, and thank you guys. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll be back soon. Hope everybody's having a phenomenal day. Mwah.